Picture the scene. It is the night before the handover.
Right.
Nicholas J. Gomez, the man who eventually becomes known as the precision laundry architect, is doing the final walkthrough of the facility, the place that is about to become Super Kleen Laundry.
And the previous owner is leading this tour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chest puffed out,
Yeah.
clearly proud of the operation. He takes Nicholas over to the supply closet and just throws the door open like he's revealing this massive treasure chest.
And it is packed.
Floor to ceiling. We are talking about 10 years worth of bulk supplies.
Just pallets of soap, mountains of cleaning fluid.
Yeah. And in that previous owner's mind, this is a gold mine. He genuinely believes he is handing over a fully stocked war chest.
Right. He's thinking, I've done you a massive favor. You won't have to buy soap until 2030.
But the architect takes one look at this treasure and sees something completely different. He doesn't see value. He sees a graveyard.
Because when he actually picks up a bottle to inspect it,
The liquid isn't moving.
it's hardened.
Completely hardened into a brick. The chemicals have separated. It is total ruin. 10 years of quote-unquote savings that are now completely valueless.
And that moment right there, that discovery on inventory night, is the perfect encapsulation of the conflict we are analyzing today.
It's the clash between manual grit, that old school hoarding mentality, and precision architecture.
Which is exactly why we're here in the audio lab today. We aren't just talking about laundry detergent, we are dissecting a fundamental shift in business logic.
Welcome to the audio lab for the AIforLaundromats.org project. I am your guide to the narrative, taking these experiments from the living lab, which is Super Kleen Laundry, and unpacking the strategy for you.
And I'm here to handle the technical analysis. My focus is taking these scenarios and filtering them strictly through the lens of efficiency per cycle. We are moving you away from gut feel purchasing and pushing you toward data-backed operations.
So let's jump straight into that horror story in the supply closet. We're looking at the source document labeled Scenario Tool 26226. I want to understand how an owner gets to the point where they literally have 10 years of soap rotting on a shelf.
It comes down to bad advice disguised as wisdom. The previous owner actually gave the architect a very specific tip during that handover.
Oh, right. He said, you got to go to Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply is the secret. That was his golden rule. He was buying water softener salt by the pallet because he could get it for $5 a bag.
Okay, I want to play devil's advocate for a second here.
Yeah.
Because $5 a bag is cheap. If you go to a regular hardware store, you're paying $7, maybe $8.
Sure.
So on paper, buying a pallet of $5 a bag sounds like business 101. Buy low, stack high. Why does the precision laundry architect look at this and immediately flag it as a failure?
Because he's analyzing the total system, not just the paper receipt. This is what we identify in the data as a magic variable.
A magic variable. Break that concept down.
In systems architecture, a magic variable is a metric that looks like a clear, undeniable win. So in this case, the isolated low price of salt.
Right.
But it secretly sabotages multiple other parts of your operation. The previous owner focused entirely on the purchase price and completely ignored system latency and holding costs.
Let's define system latency in this specific context.
System latency is the operational friction involved in getting the product from the vendor to the machine. Think about the physical reality of a pallet of salt. It is massive. It's heavy.
You have to physically drive a truck to Tractor Supply.
Exactly. You drive the truck, you load 50-pound bags by hand, you drive back to the laundromat, you unload them, you stack them in the back room. That is hours of manual labor.
And if the owner's doing it, you have to ask what his hourly rate is.
And if an employee is doing it, that's direct wages. So suddenly that $2 savings per bag, it's completely wiped out by the labor costs.
You're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. But it's not just the labor. There's a spatial issue too, right?
Yeah.
Because Super Kleen is not an airplane hangar.
It's a retail footprint. Which brings us to unproductive consumption. You have capital, actual liquid cash that you have converted into salt.
And now that salt is just sitting on a pallet in a utility room.
Taking up square footage that has a fixed cost, you pay rent or a mortgage on that space. If 10% of your back room is filled with salt that won't be used for 6 months, that is dead space.
It's not generating revenue.
It's just holding an asset that is slowly degrading.
And in the case of the soap, it was literally degrading, hardening into a plastic jug.
Correct. The architect noted in the source files that they found items that were of little value except to purchase in bulk.
That is such a stinging critique.
It implies the only reason the item was even inside the building was because it was on sale, not because the actual business operation required it.
It's a trap I think any business owner can fall into. buying something just because it's a quote-unquote good deal. But the aftermath of this hoarding wasn't just a quick trip to the dumpster for the architect.
It's not all.
The notes from the living lab say this cleanup took a massive amount of time.
It was a huge operational drag. This is the hangover of manual grit. The sources indicate the architect had to responsibly move that inherited inventory over the course of 4 years.
4 years? Wait, why didn't he just throw it all out on day one? Just declare a clean slate and toss it?
Because that would be fiscally irresponsible. The capital was already spent. It was a sunk cost, yes, but the materials still had marginal utility.
So he had to slowly grind through it.
Exactly. Donating some to local shelters, using some in-house, distributing the rest. Imagine running a sleek, AI-driven business, but for 4 years, you are still physically tripping over the previous owner's bad decisions every time you open the closet.
It sounds exhausting. It's like trying to run a marathon while wearing a backpack full of rocks that somebody else handed you.
That is the perfect analogy, and that friction is what pushed him to completely burn the boats on bulk buying. He realized that this hoarding strategy was a massive liability, and what's interesting is where he finds the solution.
Right. He doesn't look to another laundromat owner. He looks back to his own professional history.
15 years prior, he worked in operations for a non-profit meal organization.
Food service.
Yes. And in a commercial kitchen, you cannot hoard lettuce.
You can't buy 10 years worth of milk just because it's on sale.
It rots. So he takes that strict food safety protocol and applies it to laundry supplies. He implements FIFO.
First in, first out.
Yeah.
I know this from working in restaurants years ago. You always put the new milk behind the old milk.
It's standard practice in food. But in the commercial laundry sector, people forget that inventory has a shelf life too, both chemically and financially. The rule he set at the living lab was absolute. Never keep more than 1 week's worth of supplies on the shelf.
Just 1 week. I really have to pause there. Because if I am a business owner used to seeing a massive wall of supplies, that wall feels like security. Going down to a 1-week buffer feels like walking a tightrope without a net.
You're worried about a truck breaking down or a snowstorm.
Exactly. What if there's a supply chain hiccup?
That anxiety you're feeling is the voice of manual grit. It feels like a tightrope because you are relying on your own manual memory to run the system. If you forget to drive to the store, the business halts. But in a precision architecture, it is not a tightrope, it's a pipeline. The architect refers to this as the sell-through rate.
Sell-through rate. Let's unpack that term. How does focusing on that change the math?
The sell-through rate measures the velocity of an item, how quickly it enters your facility and is converted into actual revenue. The goal is not to have a stocked shelf.
The goal is a flowing shelf.
Yes. You want the supplies to arrive, hit the shelf, and almost immediately be consumed by a revenue-generating machine cycle. If a bottle of soap sits untouched for a month, you have failed.
Because you have dead capital.
You want that bottle to turn back into cash within days.
Okay, the philosophy is flow, don't store. I get that.
Yeah.
But let's look at the mechanics of actually doing it. Because the brand identity documents explicitly state the architect strictly limits his time working in the business to 10 hours a week.
10 hours total.
Correct. So if he is only physically present for 10 hours a week, he is certainly not driving down to Tractor Supply every Tuesday to buy 3 bags of salt. That would eat up 20% of his allotted time. How does he physically move the goods into the store without moving himself?
He leverages the modern supply chain, specifically the gig economy. He mapped out the labor costs and realized the savings of bulk buying were an illusion. So he pivoted to a strict biweekly delivery schedule using local stores.
Like Walmart.
Yes, and this is a strategic outsourcing of his warehousing. Walmart already has a massive climate-controlled warehouse.
Right. They pay for the heating, they pay the security guards, they pay the insurance on all that inventory.
Exactly. The architect simply treats Walmart as his personal stockroom.
That is a brilliant reframe. He's letting a multi-billion-dollar corporation foot the bill for holding his inventory.
He only takes possession of the physical item the exact moment his business needs to sell it to a customer. And because of gig delivery apps, the system latency is practically zero.
The time delay between needing something and actually having it in hand.
Right. Decades ago, you hoarded because a trip to the store was a massive hassle. Today, that trip is a screen tap. The infrastructure has evolved, but most owners are still using the mindset from the 1990s.
But wait, I'm looking at the data from the scenario 2026226 document, and there is a major outlier here. We have been dismantling the idea of bulk buying, but there's one specific item they still stack up on.
The salt exception.
A salt exception.
I love this detail because it proves the architect isn't just following blind dogma. He isn't being a minimalist just for the aesthetics. He is following hard data. The precision comes from AI-driven analysis of their consumption rates.
What did the living lab data actually say about the salt?
The system logs showed they burn through 5 to 8 bags of water softener salt every single week.
That is a heavy burn rate.
It is. It represents a massive sell-through rate. Because the consumption is so rapid and so statistically consistent, it actually justifies a slightly larger on-hand stock.
So they aren't hoarding it in the sense of hoping they use it in 6 months.
No, they are buffering a high-velocity stream. The salt leaves the shelf almost as fast as it arrives. That is a mathematically healthy inventory system.
It stands in total contrast to that stainless steel cleaner the previous owner bought. Where a 3-pack sits on the shelf gathering dust for 5 years.
One is strategic flow, the other is operational stagnation.
Let's shift gears to the human element for a minute. Because you can have the most dialed-in algorithms and the best delivery apps on your phone, but you still have human beings managing the floor. And humans get anxious about scarcity. The architect actually shares a great anecdote about a staff member who came to him in a panic.
The toilet bowl cleaner crisis.
Yes, the crisis. Paint the picture of what happened there.
An attendant approaches him on shift, genuinely concerned. She tells him they are getting dangerously low on supplies. So naturally, the architect goes to investigate the supply closet to see what was missed.
And what does he find? An empty shelf.
Not at all. He finds a 2-pack of commercial cleaner sitting right there in plain sight.
Okay, so to me and to you, a 2-pack of industrial cleaner is fine. That is plenty of runway. But to her, that was a red alert. Why the disconnect?
It's a fascinating psychological study. It highlights the friction between the household mindset and the commercial mindset. The employee is viewing the laundromat's inventory through the lens of her own kitchen at home.
Right. At home, if you're down to your last 2 rolls of paper towels, you are in trouble.
You have to plan a trip. It's an inconvenience. You feel vulnerable to running out. It's a scarcity trigger.
2 left means danger.
Exactly. But the architect has to actively train his team out of that mindset. In a precision architecture, having 2 bottles left is not an emergency. It is 100% efficiency.
It means you haven't tied up excess cash, but you also haven't run dry.
You are operating perfectly in the pocket. It's the just-in-time philosophy. He tells the staff they don't need a physical safety net of 50 bottles. They have a digital safety net.
If Walmart is out of stock, another local store has it on an app.
If the local store doesn't have it, an online marketplace can overnight it. The modern supply chain is the closet.
I imagine that is a tough mental shift for a staff member who is used to manual grit. They're conditioned to see a full room of boxes and feel safe. An empty shelf feels like the business is failing. How does an owner actually break that habit?
You have to replace the physical stuff with transparent data. And this ties directly into the wider tech stack at SuperClean. We know from the documentation they use Kleen Cloud for their point of sale and Homebase for labor scheduling. You cannot run a lean, 1-week inventory if you lack the data visibility that AI-driven systems provide.
Connect those dots for us. How does a point of sale system dictate how much toilet cleaner to buy?
It comes down to tracking efficiency per cycle, or EPC. The POS system tells you the exact number of customers who walk through the door. It tracks the precise number of wash cycles run.
So it's not a guessing game.
No. If the data shows you ran 500 cycles this week, the AI analysis can predict with extreme accuracy exactly how much soap, how much softener, and how much facility cleaning spray was consumed.
So when the employee looks at a nearly empty shelf, she sees risk. But the architect looks at the dashboard data and sees total control.
Exactly. Data replaces inventory. Information replaces physical bulk. That is the core maxim here. The higher the quality of your operational data, the less physical safety stock you are forced to carry.
Let's circle back to the financial implications of all this. We talked about unproductive consumption earlier. When you look at the scenario files, the architect really emphasizes that this is not just about having a tidy back room. It is strictly about capital.
It is about liquid capital. Let's make this tangible for you listening. Imagine you have $1,000 worth of excess soap sitting in a dark closet. That $1,000 is effectively in jail.
In jail. I like that phrasing.
It is locked up. It cannot earn interest in a bank. It cannot be deployed to repair a broken dryer. It cannot be used to run a targeted ad campaign to acquire new customers.
And the owner can't take it out as profit.
It is completely frozen in the form of soap. And if it sits there for 10 years like the previous owner's stock did, It is actively losing purchasing power every single day due to inflation.
So when you adopt this meal prep mentality, this strict FIFO just-in-time approach, you are essentially orchestrating a jailbreak for your own money.
You are unlocking capital. You are keeping your cash perfectly liquid for as long as mathematically possible, only converting it into physical supplies at the very last second before a customer consumes it.
It drastically improves cash flow.
It transforms it. And if you are a commercial laundry operator looking to scale, maybe trying to acquire your second or third location, cash flow is oxygen. You cannot suffocate your own growth by burying your cash in a mountain of bulk detergent.
And we can't ignore the physical space aspect either. Super Kleen Laundry is located in Lake City, Michigan. Space might be a bit cheaper there than downtown Manhattan, but square footage is still a hard constraint.
Every single square foot of a facility must justify its existence. If you use 10% of your floor plan to store a mountain of salt, that is 10% of your monthly rent generating zero return.
That space could house a high-margin vending machine.
It could be an expanded wash-and-fold processing station.
Or it could just be open space, giving the customer breathing room so they don't feel like they're doing their laundry inside an industrial warehouse.
Exactly. Visual clutter is the enemy of a premium customer experience. A precision laundry architect designs the space for the user's comfort, not for the storage of cheap bulk bargains.
Right, let's synthesize the architecture we've built today. We started with a nightmare scenario of the bulk buy. 10 years of wasted supplies practically fossilized in a closet. We identified the magic variable trap, which is thinking you are saving money on the sticker price while actively bleeding money on labor hours and floor space.
We covered the operational solution, implementing FIFO and the meal prep mentality, treating supplies like perishable lettuce. And we analyzed the logistics, specifically leveraging the gig economy so you can let Walmart function as your zero-cost warehouse.
And finally, we tackled the required mindset shift, moving the team from the household panic of running out to the commercial precision of trusting your data streams.
It really is a complete overhaul of how operators view assets. The physical stuff is not the asset. The automated process is the asset. Your ability to summon the materials exactly when you need them is the true asset.
And the beauty of this is that it's happening right now in the living lab. This is an abstract theory. Nicholas J. Gomez is actively executing this playbook at Super Kleen.
Which validates the entire framework. We aren't quoting a textbook here. We're analyzing a live business that literally carried tons of dead weight out the back door and is now operating with a lean, highly efficient, data-driven heartbeat.
It's a powerful lesson. And honestly, it deeply challenges that instinct you have when you see a bright red sale sticker at a bulk store.
The sale is usually a trap. Unless your AI-tracked sell-through rate actively justifies it, like we saw with the salt exception, the discount you get on a bulk buy is almost always erased by the hidden costs of storage, degradation, and trapped capital.
Do not step over dollars to pick up pennies.
Precisely. Focus on building the architecture, not hunting the bargain bin.
This has been a really fascinating look into the supply shelves of the living lab. It makes you want to walk into your own back room right now and just audit what is actually sitting there.
It should. That objective audit is step one to becoming a precision architect.
That brings us to the end of the data for this deep dive. If you want to see the specific system prompts used to generate these insights, or if you want to dig into the raw numbers behind the inventory burn rates, head over to aiforlaundromats.org.
We have the complete data breakdowns available there. And make sure you are subscribed to the Load Down newsletter. That is where we publish our weekly technical briefings and the latest scenarios straight from the lab.
But before we close out, I want to leave you with a final provocation. We talked about the hardened, separated soap. We talked about capital locked in jail. I want you to walk into your own facility today and look hard at your shelves.
Ask yourself a simple question. What is hardening in your business right now?
What is sitting there that you think is a valuable asset, something you are proud to have in stock, but is actually a hidden liability dragging down your cash flow?
Is it an overstock of supplies? Is it obsolete equipment you won't throw away? Or is it an outdated manual process that you are holding on to just because it has always been done that way?
Identify the hardening, and then clear it out. Stop putting out fires and start building your architecture. This is the Audio Lab.
Stay precise.